George A. Romero never set out to become a Hollywood figure, by all indications, though, he was very successful. The director of the groundbreaking Living Dead films was born February 4, 1940, in New York City to Anne Vorsky and Jorge Romero. His father was born in Spain and raised in Cuba, and his mother was Lithuanian. He grew up in New York until attending the renowned Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. After graduation he began shooting mostly short films and commercials. He and his friends formed Image 10 Productions in the late 1960s, and they all chipped in roughly $10,000 apiece to produce what became one of the most celebrated American horror films of all time, Night of the Living Dead, 1968. Shot in black and white on a budget of just over $100,000, Romero's vision, combined with a solid script written by him and his Image co-founder John A. Russo, along with what was then considered an excess of gore, enabled the film to earn back far more than what it cost. It became a cult classic by the early 1970s and was inducted into the National Film Registry of the Library of Congress of the United States in 1999. Romero's next films were a little more low-key but less successful, including There's Always Vanilla, 1971, The Crazies, 1973, Season of the Witch, 1972, where he met future wife Christine Forrest, and Martin, 1978. Though not as acclaimed as Night of the Living Dead, or some of his later work, these films had his signature social commentary while dealing with issues usually horror-related at the microscopic level. Like almost all of his films, they were shot in, or around, Romero's favorite city of Pittsburgh. In 1978, he returned to the zombie genre with the one film of his that would top the success of Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, 1978. He managed to divorce the franchise from Image 10, which screwed up the copyright on the original and allowed the film to enter into public domain, with the result that Romero and his original investors were not entitled to any profits from the film's video releases. Shot in the Monroeville, PA, mall during late-night hours, the film told the tale of 4 people who escape a zombie outbreak and lock themselves up inside what they think is paradise before the solitude makes them victims of their own, and a biker gang's, greed. Made on a budget of just $1.5 million, the film earned over $40 million worldwide and was named one of the top cult films by Entertainment Weekly magazine in 2003. It also marked Romero's first work with brilliant makeup and effects artist Tom Savini. After 1978, Romero and Savini teamed up many times. The success of Dawn of the Dead led to bigger budgets and better casts for the filmmaker. First was Night Riders, 1981, where he first worked with an up-and-coming Ed Harris. Then came perhaps his most Hollywood-like film, Creepshow, 1982, which marked the first but not the last time Romero adapted a work by famed horror novelist Stephen King. With many major stars and big studio distribution, it was a moderate success and spawned a sequel, which was also written by Romero. The decline of Romero's career came in the late 1980s. His last widely released film was the next Dead film, Day of the Dead, 1985. Derided by critics, it did not take in much at the box office, either. His latest 2 efforts were The Dark Half, 1993, another Stephen King adaptation, and Bruiser, 2000. Even the Romero-penned, Tom Savini directed remake of Romero's first film, Night of the Living Dead, 1990, was a box office failure. Pigeonholed solely as a horror director and with his latest films no longer achieving the success of his earlier, Dead, films, Romero has not worked much since, much to the chagrin of his following. In 2005, 19 years after Day of the Dead, with major studio distribution, he returned to his most famous series and horror subgenre it created with Land of the Dead, 2005, a further exploration of the destruction of modern society by the undead, that received generally positive reviews. He directed 2 more Dead films, Diary of the Dead, 2007, and Survival of the Dead, 2009. George died on July 16, 2017, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He was 77.